This week's Crazy Comics and Stories is brought to you by copious amounts of vodka. Once again to Crazy Comics and Stories. It's me, your charming and delightful old Uncle Rat Bastard. And at the other end of the series of tubes and wires we call the internets is Joe Crazy Writer. How you doing today, Joe?
Is there really such thing as porn for women?
Oh, yeah, there is. It's called Pinterest.
Good. And now we know the lovely and talented Jen Wicked is with us.
Hello?
Hello.
So that's what has been consuming your thoughts all day today, Joe?
No, but we'll get to it when we get to freaking.
Oh, well, that's not good.
No, it's called foreshadowing.
Ooh, using all those fancy terms.
Just jumping right into it tonight.
Yeah.
And how's Jen doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. I got a pretty good drink here. Got me some cranberry and vodka. Twist of lime.
You're going to have to do double because I can't have any drinks for a while.
It is a double, so
Good.
Why can't you have drinks, Joe?
You'll find out when we get to freaking.
Oh. There's a lot I have to wait for.
True.
I don't know if I had the patience.
And, we actually have to give kudos to Jen for sticking with us through last week's episode, considering how comic-centric it was. She just barely hung on.
Yeah,
but she did.
Well, I got some sleep today, and... actually, I got recently captured by some Girl Scouts who forcibly made me buy like 5 boxes of cookies.
Oh, it's like crack.
I know, so...
I tell you, if they were to sell pies, not only would Girl Scouts be the most well-funded organization in the world, but Cory would probably just be broke.
What do you mean, be broke?
I said
Broker.
Broker.
How are you doing, Cory?
I'm here, and I'm ready for the show.
That's the first time we've ever asked that question.
I know, I wasn't prepared.
I've been really focusing on increasing my empathy and working on other things, so...
There's no way I'll ever get used to that on this show. I've been working with Joe for 6 years.
I don't think you have to worry about getting used to it. It was just probably like a flash in the pan thing.
Well, yeah. The hell was that?
That was Radio K.
What are you doing, Joe?
Why are you listening to Radio K?
My daughter, even as we podcast, is going to be a DJ on Radio K right now.
And what is Radio K?
Radio K is the college radio station KUOM out of the University of Minnesota. It's on 770 AM, 100.17 and 104.5 FM. But as the AM's off now, so I basically, because they're, what do they call it? When they have to power down between sunrise and sunset. And they're streaming right now. And she had an opportunity to volunteer, and because this week was Valentine's week, or last weekend, she brought a bunch of love songs. And, she brought some things like, because Ma likes Elvis, so Love Me Tender. She likes the Beatles, so she played I Want to Hold Your Hand and other ones like that. I told her she needed to get less traditional, kind of like Blue Man Group with Venus Hum, I Feel Love. Or if you really want to go weird, do Weird Al Yankovic, One More Minute.
I'm surprised you don't have her, airing our podcasts or something.
I don't know if they do podcasts over Radio K, because it's mostly alternative radio.
And we're not. The FCC would shut them down in a heartbeat. I was thinking that maybe she could play Love Will Tear Us Apart by Joy Division.
It's not a bad idea.
There you go.
I suggested it. So.
Can you hear all this racket in the background?
Why, yes, we
can. My apartment's full of gremlins right now. I apologize.
Well, considering
get
you
'em
guys
wet.
have lived with the Cyclotron 3000 in my background, I don't think you have anything to apologize for.
I think I'm entitled to a little background noise. I'm usually quiet.
Me too. Let's see what Radio K's doing. No, we're not doing that again.
Joe, a news story broke, let's
I
see,
didn't
about
break it.
7 minutes ago.
It wasn't my fault. And,
That brings up a Tales from the Shop.
ooh.
They have announced, Boom Comics has announced the sales figures for the first issue of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Go, Power Rangers!
This is not a Loot Crate or any of those others. This is just straight sales.
Well, they did have a few variants, but
It's not like Loot Crate came in and bought a bunch of them,
Yeah.
or Geekbox, or any of those places. Number one sold over 100,000 copies, so the Pink Ranger's getting her own book.
ooh, I'll buy that photo cover.
And I wanted to bring this up because you and your former partner had a huge fight over the Power Rangers early on in your shop.
I don't remember that.
Oh, I do. The first year that the Power Rangers toys were available, and they were not, they were big. I forget how big, but they were big. You went out and spent a shit ton of money buying as many as you could.
Oh, hell yeah.
And Pat Gruber lost his mind.
Oh, I don't remember that, but that's fine.
Oh, I do.
He might not have lost it to me. Or was I even in the room?
That I don't know. I just remember you had them stacked in the back. This was in the small shop. You had them stacked in the back. And every time he saw them, his face would go beet red. And, goddamn fucking toys!
That could be where Jess and Butch got that idea in Crazy Comics for. Because an interesting thing about that is that Pat never did understand toys. A great example would be, I had two collections, and I think I spent, I don't remember. It might have been $200-300 on each. One was a run of vintage Hot Wheel cars loose from the early run up till about maybe 72. The second one was a run of Vampirilla, the original run.
The black and white magazine.
Yep. Pat, of course, was livid that I spent that much money on the Hot Wheels, but not so much on the comics. And when we finally came to an edge on that, because he's like, you really got to talk to me about this, or I don't know what brought it in, I finally just said, okay, let's look at the facts here. 2 months in, I have sold almost every single one of those Hot Wheel cars and tripled our money. I haven't sold a single Vampirilla. Yet he wouldn't concede that, okay, maybe the toys were a good thing. The worst I could concede is that you didn't understand the toys, which was fine.
How do you not understand toys?
He didn't. He just didn't understand. He didn't
It's
understand the concept of buying it, selling it. He got it when it came to comic books. He didn't get. And the weird thing is that Hot Comics was known for collectible toys. That was like one of the mainstays on it. And I mean, even to this day, I don't think he doesn't get them. You know, sometimes I guess I can understand. I know Nick would always pull a fast one on Gru, like, you buy this, it's going to go up in price, no problem. And then Pat is like, dollaring them out at a con because, Nick, he talked me into it. But I remember, though, I think I sold the run of Vampirilla to the Comic Zone because they did do old comics better than we did. And that even ties into something we learned when we first were toying with the idea of doing a comic shop. We bought John Nunziana, the owner of St. Paul Comic, brought him lunch, and we kind of picked his brains as to what to do. And he kind of told me, you can either do new stuff really, really well or old stuff really, really well. You can't do both because what will happen is your budget will be eaten up by one or the other. You may go out and buy a tremendous collection of old back issues, and you won't have enough to buy this week's new comics, or vice versa. And I think as Hot Comics evolved, at least the St. Paul store under me, I kind of embraced that. I mean, I would buy older runs of Star Wars and Transformers and whatever, but I'd buy less and less of the old stuff, and I did the new stuff, and I did the new stuff really well. And we talked about I'd get in 20 cases of Spawn toys and have 15 of them already pre-sold. Kind of stuck with new comics, didn't really do back issues. There was even a time one person came in with a run of Justice League of America, the original, from issue 1 to maybe up to 100. And I made an offer, and I said, your best bet's probably go over to a couple of the other shops, even the other Hot Comics. She eventually went to, again, the aforementioned Comic Zone. And I remember because Chris Budell, one of the owners, came up to the next con and asked me, did you send that lady to me? And I go, yeah, I just told her I don't sell this stuff well, and to check with you. And he gave me like $50 to just buy some stuff, kind of as a thank you. So, something to do with comics. You are when you run your store, you got to know your niche, you got to know your customers. Yeah, it may be cool to have a nice vintage run of Justice League of America, but if no one's going to buy them, why bother? And of course, this was long before eBay, so odds are good I could buy them now and just eBay them. But that was then. This is now.
I was going to ask. Did you? I don't remember a lot of people bringing in vintage toys or older toys. Did that happen a lot, or was it fairly rare?
It was fairly rare, mainly because I think Brian and Dan did better at their shop with it. So a lot of times I would refer people direct to them. I know as time went on, it was kind of it was a different type of referral. I mean, the guys from the source, you wanted toys? Go check me out. People ask me about games, I say go check out the source. Wanted vintage toys? That was definitely Brian and Dan's specialty. Not so much the other Hot Comics because they were farther on the other side of town. But yeah, I mean, I recall the first 2 toys I ever bought. They were a couple of the ROM figures. They were a couple of the Tron figures and Clash of the Titans. And I was real excited. I paid $50 for these. They probably ran $50 a piece. So, yeah, I might have paid a little too much, but I was all excited. Put them out on the rack. Pat came in. I made our first toy purchase. Oh, yeah, what? Come on, I'll show you. Walked over to the rack. Some son of a bitch had ripped them off.
Oh, wow.
They were gone. And, yeah, kind of bummed about that. Usually the toys we bought, because we didn't have great access to them, were like what Pat would see. I'd grab the money, run around to all the stores I could, and pick up as many things as I possibly could. Hitting Target, Toys R Us, Walmart, whatever. Children's Palace was still around. I remember when the X-Men toys came out, we went to Toys R Us, and I think there was about 5 of us, and we might have cleared the shelving of them. And as I was leaving, the lady was scolding me. You can't come in here and do this. You can't buy everything and leave us with nothing and blah, blah, blah. And I would just kind of, I'm just going to shut my mouth, just be quiet. And as the next person in line was Dan Wiesemeyer from the other Hot. Oh, man, you'd have thought, oh, she just turned so lovey-dovey. Oh, Dan, how are you doing? Oh, it's good to see you. Oh, are these all the toys you need? Do you want me to check him back? And I'm like, holy crap, fuck, I'm standing right here. So after that, whenever I bought toys, I wouldn't, what triggered it is when you said you were tax exempt. Because if you bought something to resell for your business, you didn't have to pay taxes on it. The person who bought it would pay taxes. So, but what I decided to do to just save the hassle is not even ask. I would just put the price of the tax into the toy, and that would be part of the markup. Because it solved a lot of problems. It solved a lot of, well, you can't be buying wholesale. Well, unless you say that. If you remember, I think around that time, Target used to have signs up that said, we respect our rights to limit our guests so that they all have a chance, blah, blah, blah. Because we weren't the only shop in town running around raiding stores. We talked before about how Stand Up Comics had a whole network of people. And when they knew a certain toy line hit the targets, they would alert everybody. These guys would go north. These guys would go south, east, west. Fly, my monkeys, fly! And they would just basically strip mine the store shelves.
One of the things I do remember were shops would have one of their employees get a part-time job at like Toys R Us or Target or Walmart or whatever, and they would make sure, didn't toys come in on Tuesdays?
Yeah, I've heard of that. I like Toys R Us and stuff.
Yeah.
And they would just, they'd be in the back unloading stuff, and they'd just, call the shop and go, they're here. Yep. I'm putting the Chase figure in the back.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I honestly don't know if that's still a thing, because I don't hear about collectible toys anymore. And when I go to Target, everything's there. It's everything.
Well, it's kind of like what I talked about. I don't know if I talked about this on the podcast. I found a Spider-Gwen figure out of the new Avengers set, or Amazing Spider-Man set or whatever. And there were a couple other really cool figures, so I looked them up online, and for the most part...
What the hell is somebody peeling plastic off of something?
I'm bored by this shit. I was eating a piece of candy.
So what if she is? Stro, just relax. For once,
yeah.
It's not me.
Yeah, just relax, man. Hey, this is pretty good.
Anyways, they... Oh, never mind. Now I want some candy. I forgot what I was talking about. Oh, the Spider-Gwen figure. Yeah. Anyways, the other figures didn't have a heat. The Spider-Gwen figure, somebody on eBay, there were two of them. People were selling them at like $50, and you buy them for $20. And I thought, oh, cool. So I bought it. Next morning, took pictures of it. I was getting ready to post online. I was like, I'll check one more time. Nope, price had dropped back to $20 because enough people got it online, or they got their box, or they got their special. And so really collector toys, with the exception of like exclusives at San Diego and things like that. Yeah, and hot toys too. Oh, man.
It's like ginger candy, and I put it in my mouth, and it's like, okay, and then all of a sudden it got really fucking hot.
Gingers will do that to you.
Oh, I'm dying. Somebody kill me.
Which might be the first on a podcast.
No.
No? Somebody else has died on a podcast?
My eyes are fucking watering. Holy shit.
I've died on this podcast at least 30 times.
This is some, like, it's got, like, where is this made? Indonesia.
The crickets died.
I bought this at the grocery store.
Andy Rooney died.
In the international product.
And I actually felt pretty smug this week because I actually alerted Cory that Judge Scalia had died. I didn't believe it when I first read it. And
I have never seen such a party on my Facebook newsfeed before.
Oh, man. It's weird because the conservatives are wailing and gnashing of teeth and saying, Obama better not. And all the liberals are going, ding dong, the witch is dead. I was like...
Dude, my favorite post was an article from The Onion that said, Justice Scalia dies after a 30-year battle with social progress. I laughed for like 10 minutes, I'm sorry. And then I felt slightly guilty, and then I laughed some more.
I'm just sad that Vanity from Vanity 6 died.
I saw that too. I don't know who that is.
Well, we had a comic to review.
We did.
Oh, we did.
Oh, my eyes are still watering.
Damn, I want some candy.
I'll save you one of these, Joe. Go on.
It was Batgirl Volume 2, the second trade paperback of Cameron Stewart's Batgirl run. And I thought we could discuss that. Joe, did you get to read it?
Joe?
Much better.
Joe had to run and get candy, too.
I can't wait to see what this one's like.
What kind of candy are you eating, Joe?
Oh, my. Sour. It looked like a lemon, and it tastes even worse.
What have you got against lemons?
Nothing. I would usually rather have a real lemon.
Joe, we're talking about Batgirl now.
No, Batgirl.
Hey, I actually got to see the comic this week.
Wasn't that some highfalutin stuff to try to get that reader loaded?
Oh my god, I actually wrote this under freaking, but we can talk about it now because fuck this e-reader bullshit. I had to download a special program, then I had to have an ID, and then the stupid password and username you gave me didn't work, so I had to make my own. All of that just to read a comic book.
I know. But like Cory said, this is because these are password protected, so people don't spread them out via pirate websites. Yeah, we
and
can
then I
still
looked
look
at
at
it, and
them.
it's 169 pages.
Oh yeah, this was actually.
I had like
graphic
15
novel.
minutes for this.
Batgirl Family Business Volume 2. Is Cory with us, or did he run out to get some candy?
I don't know. Cory, where are you at?
Just waiting to get to the review.
All right.
I gave you 3 segues, and you kind of fell off each
I'm
one.
done, man. Whatever.
Joe, I said, what did you think?
Whatever.
And then I sat back and let the fireworks go.
I had to go up and get
You
some
have a low
candy.
standard for fireworks.
Yeah, really. I want to see something boom.
We were eating candy.
Yeah. The one thing I didn't like about this graphic novel, it's started mid-story. Bad editors. Bad editors. Maybe, I don't know. It's hard to say because most of the books, that seem to be their style, where you're just tossed into the issue and you don't really know what's going on. And it was quite confusing because it took me a long time to figure out what's going on. But once I went forward, it worked out well. I suggest you read Volume 1 before you read Volume 2, because otherwise you're going to be kind of confused as to
That's generally how you would do it, wouldn't it be?
Pretty much. But be that as it may, I love the art on the Batgirl. I love the mannerisms. I mean, manga influence. I mean, you can see, I can't tell what page I'm on here, but right away she jumps through a bunch of lasers and something goes wrong and, oh, drat. You can see her scowling and her eyes are down. And so I thought that was kind of cool. If something didn't work her way, she's sulking. Actually kind of reminded me of my daughters, because they're about the same age as Batgirl. Is Batgirl supposed to be college age or high school age in this?
College.
Okay.
Well, a little past college.
Okay, that would explain it, because later on when she gets a little busy with some people, I'm kind of like, okay, she must be college age. I did like it. It kind of tied into the other Bat books, hence the name Family Business, as she's running across the other Bat people. I didn't like the way they fell into a cliche, because Batman, I don't know if you throw this under spoilers or not, but Batman in the current Batman is James Gordon, the father of Barbara Gordon, who is Batgirl, and he's been tasked with running out to get all the vigilantes. So as he's busy giving his big reveal moment that I'm Batman, I'm going to do this, she turns to say, well, Dad, and then he continues on about how he has to hunt the other vigilantes, so boom, she can't tell him that she's Batgirl and blah, blah, blah.
Okay, I want to stop you right there, because how in the shit can anybody not know who Batgirl is? I mean, this mask covers like maybe 30% of her face. Like, you can see everything, including her hair.
Yeah, like how many redheads, running around Gotham are there?
You don't even need it. She's like talking to her fucking dad. Spoiler.
Well, yeah, and then later on when the dad's right in front of her.
How the hell do you not recognize her? I mean, she's like, this mask is a joke. I mean, at least Batman does that weird shit where it, like, whites his eyes out.
I wonder if this is just one of those things where in a superhero universe, as soon as you put the mask on, you're unrecognizable.
Like Clark Kent in the fucking glasses?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
And the cowlick.
In this comic book full of people running around doing ridiculous shit, it's this mask. It's this mask that just... I can't.
Just to finish up, I found that the action was good. The story was fairly followable. I was able to figure out what was going on as it went on. And, of course, it ended with a good wedding. I love a good wedding. Makes me want to cry. Now back to my candy.
And since nobody's going to toss it back to me...
Cory, what do you think of this book?
The first problem I had was like with Joe, where they started with what was a story from a sampler book. What it was, this was all of the Batgirl stories Yeah, it's 5 issues of the comic, the annual, and then this sampler story that was in, I don't know what it was in, but it was more of a snippet of a story where it felt like, okay, here's a sample. It didn't fit with anything. It didn't explain anything. There was no editorial material, which I think this book desperately, desperately needed. When you're putting together a trade paperback, you have to realize that someone who's just going to pick this up and start reading, the editorial material could have said, by the way, Batgirl, who is Barbara Gordon, boom, 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 explain who the character is, set things up. You don't just turn the page, you're in the middle of a story. It means, what it means to me when I see that is that, oh, they're selling this to people who've already bought comics, which is stupid in the case of Batgirl because this book has really strong appeal outside of comic shops.
This definitely does, because I am totally digging this, and I don't read comic books, as we all know.
The art is absolutely amazing. Babstar's art in this book, it's different, it's fresh, it's exciting, it's very easily animation based.
There's so much movement. It's got a lot of, like, the characters moving. You can kind of feel the momentum behind them.
Yeah, it's very smooth.
The faces are so expressive. I'm
the faces
really
are wonderful.
loving this.
And the other thing that I really love about it is the other DC books sexualize their female characters the way they did comics in the 90s. Everybody's got huge boobs. Everybody's got legs that are 4 feet long, and they're in poses where you see both the boobs and the butt, and everybody's in, thigh high this. Batgirl's costume is very practical. She's drawn like a real person.
There is one shot of her underpants when she's changing clothes.
If that's the only thing, I watch a lot of Japanese anime.
You do?
But yeah. Yeah. But the thing that I really love is the artist focuses so much on facial expression, focuses so much on that part of the storytelling. But also the fight sequences, you can tell by looking at them that this person kind of knows martial arts, and they're drawing martial arts fights rather than, big roundhouse punches that look cool. The fights seem realistic. The problem I have is with the storytelling, writer-wise. There are lots of characters dropped into this book, many of whom have fairly complicated relationships, and we don't get any explanation. It's, oh, no, well, that's Dick Grayson. We're just going to call him Grayson. We're not going to explain that he's, the former Robin who's now grown up. We're not going to explain that he and Barbara Gordon have had an off and on again relationship. Oh, here's Batwoman. What's her story? Nope, we're just going to show her. She's just going to do shit. The supporting cast. When I got to the story about with Lucius Fox, where someone has broken into Lucius Fox's business and stolen something, and they think that it's one of the people who work there, you can tell by reading it that this is a character that we should know, but the character's not introduced to us. Take the time to introduce these characters. Yes, it's volume 2, but when you see Lethal Weapon Part 2, they give you the time. This is this character, this is this character, this is who they are, this is their motivation. That's basic storytelling. Aside from that, this was a wonderful, wonderful volume, and I absolutely loved it. I love reading this book. This is one of the few DC comics I read, and I'm going to give it a high recommendation. This is a buy, but, like Joe said, buy volume 1 first. Joe, buy, borrow, or ignore?
I think I would borrow it. I can live without the Adventures of Batgirl. But it is something that if I did buy it, I might give it to my daughters.
Jin,
you're just looking through it. Your opinion?
Definitely buy. And I want to comment, since I didn't actually get to talk about this besides interrupting you two. You already talked about, like, the art, like the drawing and the composition, but actually, like, the use of color in here is just phenomenal as well. Like, looking at the individual pages, like, it's not just panel to panel, but, like, the entire page. Like, like I can see like the color like helping kind of flow through the panel layout. I'm just, there's a lot of words in here, and I don't like to read words, especially when I've been drinking. But I really just love the use of color in here. The artwork is phenomenal. I mean, I would buy it just to look at the art alone. I don't really care, I don't know anything about this, except I did read the first 2 or 3 little storylines in here, and like you said, this is really accessible. Even coming in at volume 2, I haven't read the first volume, but this is really accessible to somebody who doesn't normally read comics, especially who's somebody who's like a fan of the cartoons, animated shows. So definitely buy.
Now, one of the things that happened when Batgirl hit was in the comics community, a lot of creators were like, that is what I want to do. That's the kind of storytelling I want. They wanted to get away from the over-rendered stuff. They wanted to get away from the I always call it the itchy, scratchy inks, where everything looks like it's not just ink with a pen, but ink with a pen that has a .0001 millimeter line. They wanted to do this sort of thing to the point where it was called Batgirling. We want to Batgirl our book. We want to, have the art style seem more animation-based. We want the color to seem more bright rather than we're going to darken everything.
You got some heavier line work in here, too. I really dig it. I'm not a fan of those, I haven't heard it called that before, but those scratchy inks. It's where basically, if you look at the ink before it's colored, sometimes you almost can barely tell what's going on in the picture. It's really the color that's doing the heavy lifting. And I don't like that, but I'm a black and white person mostly, so. But I like to see some of this. There's a lot of line value. There's a lot of variation in, the line thickness. It's more interesting to look at than just these, wafer-thin lines that are barely there with the color carrying most of the art.
And for me, especially if I'm going to be looking at black and white art, maybe this is just a personal preference, but I would rather people ink with a brush because you could get variation. You could get a lot of, lines could be thin, they could be thick, the ink could be used for shading rather than most of the DC style, which is that, okay, we're just, we're just using a pen. And I think the variation is needed because some of the best inkers in comics, Joe Sinnott, Terry Austin, they used both. They knew that you need to have contrast in your ink lines for depth.
Using a pen is no excuse, I ink almost exclusively with technical pens. I do occasionally use a dip pen and a brush, but just using a pen is no excuse for not having any variation in your line thickness.
And it became kind of a thing in comics that everybody wanted to Batgirl their books to the point where DC Editorial actually put out a memo, according to rumor sites and some of the artists, there will be no more Batgirling of books.
Aww.
And what I wanted to talk about was how it seems like if something kind of becomes a hit, either it sells really well or comic creators love it a lot, everybody wants to do it.
Copycats.
And the best example that most people know is after Dark Knight and Watchmen, everybody wanted to do dark and gritty. Where, okay, we're going to make these characters that have been around for years and years and years who've been kind of lighthearted. Nope, we're going to have stories with murder and death and rape and ultra violence. And it became so big that it got to the point where it took over everything. And then that kind of faded away. And other trends have come and gone. And Joe, first I wanted to ask you, when something hits big, like a Dark Knight, like a Watchmen, do you instantly look around and go, I want more like that? Or is it, I want more from these creators?
I would tend to say I want more from these creators, but also it's not my choice because, again, we're pretty much dictated by what is coming out from the previews. Many times I get the previews the same time the customer gets the previews, and, I have that 2-month window to order things. So they may decide, yeah, Watchmen's the biggest thing since sliced bread. Well, unless Alan Moore suddenly coughs up a bunch of Beyond Watchmen comic books, which ain't very likely.
And he didn't do.
There's almost no way to capitalize on
That's
it.
the guy that looks like a Yeti, right?
Pretty much.
Yes,
Okay.
the great hairy one.
Just making sure I have my name straight.
Now, when you were running the shop, you got into especially the early on, you got into kind of the Death of Superman, where after Death of Superman, everybody needed a big event. And when you did that, did it continue, or was it the law of diminishing returns? After 2 years of it, were people just, fuck this, I don't want this anymore?
You're going to make me do it, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
What are you going to do?
Well, the events lasted until Deathmate.
Since there was so much crosstalk and so many people talking over me, I was unable to say what I normally say. So, he's gonna puke! He's gonna puke!
I've had way too much to drink already, and I'm like halfway through this drink.
God, I need something to drink now.
Some Pepto-Bismol.
I'll drink. I'll double down on this for you, Joe.
Thank you, Jen. Somebody cares.
You're welcome. I know.
And thanks
I care.
for letting me bring that up, Cory.
I really do care.
And you'll find out what when we get to geeking.
For me, by the time it got to Green Lantern becomes a mass murderer, I was done. I didn't want any more big character-changing event stories at all. That was, to me, the one where I went, all right, I'm tapping out. I'm done. Don't do this anymore. And then, of course, after that, we got the Spider Clone Saga, which...
I remember saying, if they do it right, it could be good. And the coolest part of the whole thing was when the Ben Reilly Spider-Man discovered Venom and could not believe that Peter Parker had a deal with him. And, of course, Venom was all confused because he was like, wait a minute, Spider-Man, we had a deal.
Spider-Man!
Yay! Much like Superior Spider-Man, I was going to say much better, but that's not really a phrase, but mine the same vein of stories, but to great and better effect.
Joe, was there one of those events where you just kind of went, all right, I'm done, I'm not reading anymore?
I'm out.
Or did you kind of read through all of until they went, oh, gosh, let's fire Bob Harris and do good comics again?
It was hard to say because, I mean, I read a lot of comics, but I didn't really collect many of them. To me, the 90s X-Men is like a void because I just didn't read them. I kind of followed Avengers.
The X-Men became nothing but big events.
Yeah, and I don't think, other than selling them, I really didn't. I mean, I could even now go back and read a 90s X-Men comic, and I try occasionally when, a convention comes around, such as the MSP Comic-Con 2016, May 14th and 15th, 2016, at the Minnesota State Fair Grandstand, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Sunday.
6 now?
I know.
I will be there.
Jen will be there.
I will
You
be
can
there.
go to www.mcbacomiccons.com and not only discover who else is going to be there, but you can also get advance tickets.
But I will be there.
And that
There's a
alone
picture
is
of
worth
me
getting
on
an
that
advance
page.
ticket. I know. We're
I
famous.
am so drunk.
And Joe and I are going to be there, and there's a picture of us doing a panel, which I find hilarious because the most people we had at our panel was 6.
You're not supposed to brag about that.
Wait, hey,
Trust me,
we haven't tried recording.
That's a career high for us.
But instead now, we'll just be having a panel the whole damn time we're there. We're going to have a table. We're going to have a setup. We're going to be talking to people. We're going to be interviewing. We'll be doing commentary. If I can swing it,
And
we may
he's a
even do
swinger.
some. We may even do some live streaming.
He's a swinger.
Don't listen to him. He'll never figure out how to do that.
I know.
We did periscoping at the last event we
Until
went to.
Cory discovered he was periscoping.
Periscoping, damn it.
What does that even mean?
Wow, I know a cool tech thing before Jin does.
Don't
Joe,
let it go to your head.
Joe, write down the date. 2/16 at 8:41 p.m. I know more about a tech thing than Jin does. Please write this down because it will not happen
You
again.
can't see it, but I'm like flipping off the microphone with both hands.
That calendar is mint. If I start writing on it, it won't be worth as much.
Fine.
All
Maybe
right.
the listeners will remember.
No one will remember anything.
Nobody's listening.
Nobody's listening. I'm just talking into the void.
Interwebs. Miles and miles of web.
That's delicious.
And if you say tit, winkle, or vibraphone, Department of Homeland Security will listen.
Well, thank goodness, because the NSA's been listening since day one, and they have yet to send a letter
They
or a
are
card.
bored.
You know who's not listening to us?
Who's that?
I don't know. I was trying to end this conversation.
Oh, I thought you were going to go say. I thought you were going to say that these guys are sponsors.
We're not done with our topic yet.
I'm done with the topic.
Uh-oh, Bigfoot's at the door. Birch, is that you?
Go on.
Here we are, hour 15 of Jin laughing. Let's sit back as she continues.
No, it's fine, I'm fine. Go on.
Uh-huh. After
Oh my god, he's still talking! Okay, seriously, I'm finished.
After watching...
I knew I couldn't hold it in.
Good work, Joe.
Okay, sorry, Cory, you can talk now.
Buy some snacks and socks.
I might have some tag-alongs in the freezer.
Oh man, somebody already ate all those. Wasn't me.
Thin Mints didn't last too long.
Yeah, I got a box of Thin Mints in the freezer.
After Watchmen and Dark Knight, there were a number of characters that they did that sort of updating to. Joe, what were your favorites, and what ones do you think just did not work at all?
Well, thank God the spider web armor was just a one-shot.
Oh, God, that was a nightmare.
It was a shiny green cover, too, and I tried for the longest time to sell it for $1 on my eBay store. Nobody wants it.
Now, didn't he just kind of make the armor out of webbing?
Yes. And like you said, it was just, I forget why he did it. I mean, if you want to spend...
Because it was the 100th issue and they wanted a shiny
but
cover.
Oh, now you get to laugh.
He was biting somebody or fighting somebody needed to... You can't defeat me, I have webbing.
He was biting somebody.
He was.
Yes. If radioactive Spider-Man bites you, what do you become?
But he couldn't do Daredevil because Daredevil had armor.
Oh, yeah, that was one of the dumbest ideas in comics. Daredevil, one of his powers is that all of his senses are heightened. Puts on an armored helmet so that his hearing isn't as good. Armor on his hands so that when he touches stuff, he can't, do any of that. And yeah, Daredevil's armor. Thank God they got rid of that after, what, a year?
Here we go.
I think...
Oh my
Rebel
God, this
Spider-Man
conversation is
100.
going.
Introducing the all-new, all-daring Spider Armor.
Which has never been seen again.
Spider-Man!
My enemy's enemy. Okay, I gotta find out why he had the spider armor. Ooh, shiny green cover.
Are you reading books right now?
No, I'm kind of going...
That's dangerous.
Who's he fighting? Oh, the art.
He's fighting the art? What?
Yes, we were all fighting the art on Spider-Man in the 90s.
He was fighting the Eel, the Blitz, and...
I remember the
Designated
90s.
Driver. No, the Vanisher, sorry. And then came...
The Vanisher?
Then came, the Dragon Man. Some blue guy who shits green beams. And another guy who looks like Spider-Man, but he's shooting... He flips back.
Wait,
That's who it was.
Wait.
Don't worry.
Wait.
He's fighting Dragon Man. Come on.
Joe,
There's some
Joe,
iconic-
stop. Whoa, stop.
The
Whoa.
true
Stop.
Richard Fisk.
Joe, shut up.
He's the
Joe, stop.
Wait a minute. Caravan just...
He's fighting a
Just
guy.
green beans? What?
Wait, there's a guy here. Night Watch.
I
Marvel's
haven't had that
answer
much
to-
to...
Holy cow, what is going on here?
Why are you
I wish to indicate my other
It's
power.
another one of the villains, a guy who shits corn? What the hell? Is it Vegetable Man?
Enforcers! Oh, here we go. Clear an extra wide path for the bigger, better, badder, and bulkier Spider of Steel. Wait, I'm not at the end of the comic.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, wait a minute. It started melting at the end.
Well, yeah, it's made of his webbing, which only lasts an hour.
Just me and Richard Fisk? This is way too weird. See, even Spider-Man thought it was weird. It was an epilogue.
I haven't had anything to eat tonight but alcohol.
And the origin of Night Watch, which went on for like 3 issues. Cool. So if you want this giant-size 100th issue of Web of Spider-Man, introducing
The man who shits.
Spider Armor, give Cory a call, and I will send it to you. Free of charge. No shit involved in this comic. There will be no shit
I
on it.
fucking dropped my headphones on the floor. They fell off my head.
You realize I will get to my point before if it kills
You
me.
don't have a point.
Yes,
You're not
I do.
fooling anyone.
My favorite of the dark and gritty updates.
Didn't Punisher, wasn't there a female Punisher running around?
Oh, there was a female
Lady
Punisher. Yes, and the Punisher was a black guy for a while, and then they've done everything to the Punisher. But that wasn't my favorite dark and gritty. My favorite dark and gritty was Howard Chaykin's The Shadow.
Hey, I know that.
It took the Shadow from the 30s and brought him into the modern era, but kept him the same as he was in the pulp magazines, because everybody forgets in the pulp magazines, he killed a lot of people.
Well, you gotta love it when the issue
With machine
opens
guns.
with a guy being crucified on a black tar roof, naked, and they ripped his eyelids out. I'm telling you, if I ever go psychotic, that's how I'm going to kill people.
What about the guy who who was killed and stuffed into a water cooler, and all you saw was the blood in the water cooler?
Dude, that's hardcore.
I don't think I got that far. And they said
Why didn't I think of that?
They said EC Comics had interesting ways of getting rid of bodies.
And the thing was, at the time, people were freaking out, and I, as someone who read The Shadows, like, that's actually kind of tame for some of the stuff the Shadow did in the pulps, because he did some really nasty stuff.
Shadow.
I also think that one of the unappreciated gems of that era was Mike Grell's Green Arrow. He started with a 3-issue series called The Longbow Hunters, which he wrote and drew. And then he did a Green Arrow series where he took away the trick arrows, he took away all the superhero stuff, and he made Green Arrow what he was.
Who is Green Arrow?
Green Arrow was kind of a Batman ripoff for years and years and until in the 60s he lost his fortune and became
dirty,
kind of
stinking liberal.
So it's like not Green Lantern?
No, Green Arrow.
Green guy.
They hung around later.
Green Arrow. Yeah. Green Lantern and Green Arrow were pals.
That's weird.
But he was the greatest archer in the world, and he was kind of like Robin Hood. The problem was, because he didn't have any superpowers, he was always quitting the Justice League. That's all I remember from the 70s.
Was he like a rage quitter? Did he just like quit every week? He's like, oh, I'm out of here, and then the next week he's like, oh, hey guys, how's it going?
Pretty much. But Mike Grell took him out of the superhero realm, got rid of all the trick arrows, moved the character to Seattle, and had crime stories. And out of all the dark and gritty reboots, I think that was the one that fit the best, because he kind of took what was there in the character and just said, oh, okay, let's kind of move it into a more realistic world. There's some beautiful art. I think it was Dan Jurgens' best art was when he worked on Green Arrow. But Mike Grell's art, I always enjoy Grell's art because it reminds me of Neil Adams without the over-the-topness of Neil Adams' art.
In this apartment for this conversation.
I think you're doing fine.
I think you're way too nerdy.
For a podcast about comic books.
Cory is white and nerdy. Yes, he is white and nerdy.
Joe, stop singing.
Okay.
Joe, were there any of the reboots like that you really enjoyed?
Not really. I mean, I liked Green Lantern, or what are we talking about? Arrow?
Green
Hornet?
Arrow. Green Hornet.
Shitter?
That was a reboot as well.
Yeah, Green Arrow I liked just when Grell did it. I didn't really follow it when Jurgens did the art. I did get over the whole, oh my God, he crucified Black Canary.
Well, the bad guys did that.
Yeah, but, the writer did it. But it's part of, like you said, you got to get your character through hell in order to... besides, didn't they get a swift kick arrow right where it hurts?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it also took the character out of that superhero where everything's going to be okay to, nope, the things that are done have consequences. He's using arrows. Arrows pierce the skin. Arrows can kill you. You know who didn't much care for the Grim and Gritty reboots, Joe?
Jin?
She didn't read them.
Oh, well. Tupac?
These guys, our sponsors. Believe it or not, kids, this silliness has actual real sponsors. Our first sponsor is Graze.com. Graze gives you healthy snacks sent to your house. You can have them delivered weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, and your first box is free if you use the code CORYS3R5B. Our second sponsor is Bombas. Bombas socks are some of the best socks in the world, and remember, for every pair you buy, they donate a pair to a homeless shelter or other worthy cause. Just go to bombas.gotocloud.org/SF30. That's right, those are our ads. Go check out our sponsors. See, I got there eventually.
Yeah, it was a roundabout, though.
And after the sponsors, we always ask Joe what's going on eBay.
Guys,
So,
what?
Joe?
I went away. I came back.
Joe?
We're up
what's
to my
going on
eBay
eBay
now.
Oh, okay. Guys, I went in the kitchen because I wasn't listening to Joe, and there was a gremlin that washed all my dishes.
Whoa.
Mm.
That was
I
the
know,
great...
right?
Because Jin demanded.
Joe, I'm going to throw shit at you. Stop. Edit that out. Fuck.
All right.
But you don't have to edit out me saying edit that out. Can you just put, like, a beep in there? Like, do you have to, like, edit everything? Because I was listening to one of the old episodes, and there was, like, this weird jump where I stopped talking, and I think it would be better if there was just, like, a beep there.
No,
That's
that's
just
how
my
you
opinion.
sound on the radio.
No, I don't sound like that.
You sound like that on the podcast.
I'm going to go get some more alcohol while just talking about eBay. How about that?
All right.
All right.
Because this is everybody's favorite game show, Ask the Strode.
I'm out.
He's out. She's out. Cory,
Yes.
tell me about Top Comics from Gold Key.
Top Comics. Is this the old Top Comics?
Not the super old Top Comics, the ones that appeared 1967 or so.
I do not know much about those. Well, hold on. Did they put out the Whammo book?
Let me look at the list. I don't think so.
Okay.
What it looks like is they were KK Publications, another name of Gold Key, and for the most part, they were all reprints. Donald Duck, Flintstones, Three Stooges, Zorro.
Were they American reprints?
I don't know. I think they were.
Let me take a look.
Because I sold one just recently, Top Comics Yogi Bear #2. Yogi Bear Goes to College. And it said KK reprints on the inside, but when I checked in the buyer's guide, they actually come under Top Comics and Gold Key.
Oh, okay. It was a reprint series from Gold Key.
Bunch of number ones, a few number twos.
And they did not have Gold Key anywhere on the cover.
No.
They must not have been meant for newsstands. I wonder if they were sold through toy stores or something.
It's possible. I don't know much on it. And, of course, when you...
I'm back. What did I miss?
Google it. You missed Yogi Bear. Yes.
Oh, I didn't miss shit. Go on.
Okay. For number 2, Cory, how many Space Ghost comic books were there?
All right. I honestly don't know if there were any in the 60s.
Oh, it's cold in here.
In the 80s, there was a single issue done by Steve Rude. And then when it was big on Cartoon Network, DC had a Cartoon Network series that would have Space Ghost stories from time to time. But the one I remember is the one drawn by Steve Rude, and the reason for that, the reason Steve Rude was brought in, Nexus was the character design and elements of the story were based on Space Ghost. Because Steve Rude loved the Space Ghost design by Alex Toth. A lot of artists will, if you talk to them long enough, they will proclaim their worship for Alex Toth and his design of character and his aesthetic. And Steve Rude loved that Space Ghost aesthetic and that Space Ghost character design. So when Kamiko got the rights to do a Space Ghost comic, Steve Rude basically said, either you do this or I will burn your offices down. But that's really the only ones that I know of. Were there others?
Well, there was the one you said, Kamiko, 1987. Gold Key had one way back in 67, and that was just Space Ghost himself. And of course, in 2005, DC did a Space Ghost miniseries.
Oh, the miniseries. That's right, the miniseries.
Which is reprinted in the book. That's where it was done more straightforward. Other Space Ghost appearances were as part of like Saturday Morning Cartoon or Cartoon Network did Space Ghost Coast to Coast, but there were only
that show was amazing.
Space Ghost comics. I bring that up too because it was leaked over the weekend that Jim Lee has got a hankering for making a combined universe with all of Hanna-Barbera, starting with the Flintstones, ending with the Jetsons, and everybody in between. Actually,
in DC's solicitations that were announced earlier today, the first of those books has shown up. The first one they're doing is a Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, we saw some artwork on that floating around. I'm just curious where Huckleberry Finn's going to fit in all this.
You mean Huckleberry Hound?
Finn, Hound, Tom
Bayer. It's been about an hour you listening to us talk about funny books.
Almost. We got 59 seconds.
Ah, fuck!
Yep.
Make it stop.
All right. So anyways, if you're interested in anything off eBay, let me know, and I will. Not only will you be the lucky recipient of the Web of Spider-Man 100 with the shiny green cover, or I'll just grab something off my super pile of stuff and add it to you.
It's not even a pile. It's like a whole basement full of shit.
Hey, my shit is stuff, and your stuff is shit.
My stuff is shit.
Now that we got that agreed upon.
Freaking and geeking. Joe, what are you freaking on?
Wait, you didn't leave an opening for the sponsors.
We did that while you were passed out drunk.
See the things we do for you?
All right. Freaking and geeking.
This show is a train that moves forward. If you get off at a stop, if you get off at a stop, we're still going.
Whoa, whoa.
Grinding into
the colder my hand is, the higher that train whistle goes. I read a Star Trek book.
Wait, are we freaking or geeking?
This is
freaking.
Okay, gotcha.
Serpents
I'm
in the Garden by Jeff Marionette, I believe. This is one of the first books I actually got when I renewed my library card, and I thought, well, it looks like it's fairly unread. There's probably a reason for it. Takes place during the time where Kirk is an admiral before he commandeers the motion picture Star Trek, revisits the classic episodes where, what do they call it? Serpents in the Garden or Garden of Eden or whatever. You know, Klingons are giving rifles to the bad guys.
Not the space hippies. Not the space
No,
hippies.
no,
Please,
not the space hippies, but I think he fought the Magatsu. There was a super hot lady, whatever. Not
the space hippies episode. Still, I still need therapy when I see that.
Therapy?
This is just a run-of-the-mill Star Trek book. It's nothing spectacular. I mean, if you like the series, fine. It ends up way too fast. There's probably a reason why I prefer it, like when they had the event books going, or like when Peter David writes one. This is just probably one. Hey, I got an idea. Flesh it out. Let's do it. You'd live better without it. I'm injured, and it sucks.
You're injured?
Yeah. Over the weekend.
What the hell did you do?
Well, you know, we love to lift things in my job at TSA, doing luggage and things like that. We are 1 week from the dropping of this podcast to going in our brand new nifty inline system where we don't have to lift bags. The bad bags come to us. We inspect them, make sure they're good bags, put them back on the belt. No lifting, no fuss, no mess. Nope. I had to go get my back hurt. So I filled out.
Why did you do that?
Wasn't
because he lifted with his back and not his legs.
Lift with your knees. All the little safety signs say that.
Wrong, all of you.
No.
But the problem is being government injured means that I spent about 2 hours with my supervisor filling out all the various forms. That was Saturday. And fortunately, my supervisor kind of jockeyed, so I went to a position where I didn't have to lift. So I basically sat the rest of the day. Sunday, I called, tried to get an appointment with my doctor. Couldn't get in till Tuesday. So Sunday, Monday, whatever. Tuesday, I went in, and I went to the doctor, and I said, you know, I really want to go to my chiropractor because they helped me last time. Difference being is when I go to the doctor, they give you painkillers.
You know that's just quackery, right?
Well, let's put it this way. The last time I injured my back, it took me 5 months to recover just doing painkillers and muscle relaxants. When I went to the chiropractor last time I injured my back, and this is like all the way back in 2008.
They're not real doctors.
I was up and running in like 12 weeks. So it actually, to me, it works a little quicker, and it's a little more proactive.
It's like I don't even know you.
So I went in, he sort of x-rayed my back, and unfortunately he says I've got a bulging disc down at the L3, L5 area, which could correspond to why I was having a hard time sitting all weekend versus lifting or standing or whatever. So I found that out earlier. Now, the other problem I have is TSA is real mental when it comes to people being injured to the point where they can't work or can't go back to work. You know, their whole attitude is, oh, well, you can't do your job. We're going to have to fire you. Fire. The law says they have to find me a job of equal pay somewhere else in the government. They're just hoping that they'll fire me and I'll go away. Not going to happen. So it just...
Joe never goes away.
I'm like a bad Spider-Man book. I keep shitting and
Spider-Man
all the time.
He keeps shitting green beans.
Green beans. Actually, we'll get to that in my geeking. So, anyways, I gotta go in tomorrow, give it my form saying I can't work for a few days. I'm going in on Friday. They're gonna check me out again. Blah blah blah. So even as we sit, I'm feeling mighty uncomfortable, and now at least I know why. Damn green beans. Jen, what are you freaking on?
I'm uncomfortable for vastly different reasons.
I went to Baker's Square the other day, and all I wanted in this world was a slice of banana cream pie.
And
I got a slice of banana cream pie, and I drove home, and the roads were frozen, and my truck was sliding everywhere like an ice rink.
Slip slide.
And I finally got home in one piece and sat down in front of my computer and ate my fucking pie.
She sounds
and it was
emo.
Probably the worst banana cream pie I have ever eaten in my entire life. I don't know if the bananas were green or what.
The cream was green.
It was so disappointing, and I begrudgingly ate the whole thing anyway because I'm a poor, and it's a lot to spend on a piece of pie. But it just goes to show you, if you want something done right, you have to do it yourself. Especially pie. Cory, what are you freaking on?
Someone on the Facebooks...
It wasn't me.
...posted a bunch of stuff from old comic reader magazines. Joe, do you remember the Comic Reader?
Yes, I have a few issues somewhere in
Is that
my vast collection.
I had to download to read this ebook?
No, the Comic Reader was a magazine in the 70s that was basically kind of the newspaper for comics.
I've heard of the 70s.
Here's what's coming out. Here's the creators who's going to be working on it. And they would have fan articles and art from people who would eventually go to work in comics. But they're posting all this stuff that had been announced and never came out. And it was depressing because it was, I want these books and I want them now and I want them badly. Such as, Joe, would you have read Doctor Strange, written by Roger Stern and drawn by Frank Miller, inked by Terry Austin?
Oh, hell yeah.
I know one of those names.
How about a James Bond comic written by Denny O'Neil and drawn by Frank Miller?
Yeah, had me at Frank Miller.
How about written by Larry Hama and drawn by Frank Miller?
Again, Miller's the man.
And a Iron Man series drawn by Marshall Rogers.
Okay, I'm drooling now.
These are all books that were announced and for some reason or another never happened. I don't know why they didn't happen. I want to move to the alternate universe where these comics came out. And I will stay there, and I will not come back. The solicitations for May, I think it's May, either May or June, one of the two, have dropped. And Dark Horse did one of their things that pisses me off to no end, and they've been doing it a lot lately. There was a comic series in the 80s that kind of has come out intermittently since then, called Mr. X. It was created and written by Dean Motter, who also is a design genius. The early issues were drawn by the Hernandez brothers, Gilbert and Jaime. Other artists have come in to do runs of the book. The only way they are collecting it is in limited signed editions. They're not putting out trade paperbacks. They're not even putting out hardcovers. They're putting out limited signed hardcovers that are $100 each for, like, I don't know, 200 pages. So it's like, okay, we're going to reprint 5 issues in this $100 book. They're only putting out, like, I don't know, between 100 and 500, depending. They're all signed limited. Put them out in regular books so that we could buy them. We're not all going to be pristine mint Mylar Snuggie collectors. I just want to read the damn things.
Did you say Snuggie?
Yes, Mylar Snuggies. I don't want... If I'm going to pay big money for a big, expensive comic, it's going to be one of those goddamn artist editions of the EC stuff.
Yeah, fuck that.
I'm not paying $100 for regular normal-size hardcover.
You're not paying $100 for anything.
God damn it. And then,
Not going to happen.
I worked at the group home on Valentine's Day.
How romantic.
Oh.
And while it wasn't the worst Valentine's Day I've ever had...
Did you get a Valentine's?
Oh, yes. I had 7 different residents tell me that they loved me. And while it wasn't the worst Valentine's Day I've ever had, I may tell that story at some point.
Please.
It was pretty horrible because around 1 o'clock, a staff came in who didn't work there normally and felt she needed to take control by bossing everybody around.
I know that feeling.
Yelling at the clients that they needed to do things and they needed to do them now. Oh, and by the way, we're having a party in an hour. Cory, can you get a cake and everything ready for a party? No notes, no nothing, no news. I'm trying to get trying to get lunch cleaned up.
Are you supposed to just pull a cake out of your ass? How does that work?
I've seen him do that.
That's disgusting.
It is.
No, I pull green beans out of my ass.
Hot. Banana cream.
But I find a cake mix and I throw it together and I put it in the oven and she's yelling at me.
Easy bake oven.
So I'm running around trying to calm people down. At 1:30, from 1:30 to 2, I am in one of the clients' rooms as they're sobbing because the staff has yelled at them, holding them and telling them it's going to be okay. Meanwhile, this party's supposed to start at 2, and I'm going, please, don't let the cake burn. Let one of the other staff hear when the alarm goes off and pull the cake out of the damn oven. Thankfully, they did, but we served unfrosted cake.
Ew.
The worst Rice Krispie treats I've ever made in my life because I had no time. So it's, screw it, I'm just going to mix it with marshmallow cream. Done.
The instructions are on the box.
I didn't have time. People were coming in the door.
Should have locked the door.
May the ghost of Alton Brown haunt you forever.
The ghost of Alton Brown is calling every hour to yell at me.
Uh-huh.
And then, as I come home, it's like, okay, I need to pick up a couple things for the car. I have no milk. I have no bread. I picked up that stuff. And I got home, and I just collapsed in my bed. I didn't even go to the couch. I just laid down in the bed and watched TV. And when I woke up the next morning, I'm getting ready for work. I'm doing what I need to do, and I could not find my wallet anywhere. I wasted 30 minutes in the morning looking for my wallet until I finally said, fuck it. I guess I hope I don't get pulled over. And the whole day, I'm going over in my head.
You don't have your license number memorized?
I don't have anything.
They trained me to memorize it in driver's ed so that if you got pulled over, if you knew your number but you didn't have your license, that usually the cop would be like, okay, cool.
I can't memorize numbers. It's a weird thing. I can't memorize numbers. But I'm also freaking out because, okay, my 3 credit cards are in there, my gift card is in there, my this, my Social Security.
You got a gift card?
I have gift cards, yeah.
Who gave you a gift card?
I'm not talking.
Are you socially secure?
I want to know who gave you a gift card. I didn't give a gift card.
I get home.
A gift card?
I don't give gifts of anything.
I don't give.
I get home. I spend 2 hours tearing the house apart.
120 minutes.
Spoiler alert, it was in your car trunk the whole time.
Yes, when I threw the stuff in the trunk, my wallet must have been in my hand, and I just threw it in there, too.
Your hand was in the trunk?
But thankfully, I looked in the trunk one last time before I started calling the credit card companies and canceling all the credit cards. Geeking! Joe, what are you geeking on? What are you loving?
Finally.
Yes, that's why we always end in a positive. I need to thank Mr. Strode for helping me out with the aforementioned Solo Joe number 2.
Which dropped on Friday.
Which also helped because apparently our guest star, the Cyclotron 3000, also likes to make a guest appearance as we were recording on the main floor.
Joe, can I be on Solo Joe, or is that anathema?
I don't know. We could, you and me get together, talk about Cory. That would be kind of funny.
That would be awesome. And then we make him edit it.
Yes. The ultimate. Here is Solo Joe number
30
3.
seconds of radio
I'm glad
silence.
you enjoyed it.
Thank you. Have a good night.
For Valentine's Day,
Cory is a goody two-shoes.
I succumbed to peer pressure on Valentine's Day. I don't feel good about it. But it's done. What's done is done. Took the whole family to go see Deadpool.
I want to see that.
Oh, they loved it. Even my wife enjoyed it. She says she liked it more than she thought. And she didn't fall asleep. Although she did confess she fell asleep during Star Wars. So.
A ringing endorsement. Didn't fall asleep.
Did not fall asleep.
Did not.
We had originally tried to go down to the Science Museum in Minnesota. They have what they call their Omnifest, where they're running all their top Omni films. Dana scored some free tickets. We were going down. We get there. Everything is sold out except one about humpback whales. As entertaining as that sounded, we didn't want, it was noon. We didn't want to wait till 6 p.m. So we went out, we ate, we stopped at Candyland, and we went to Deadpool.
Candyland?
Yep. A whole land full of candy.
Where?
That was
Downtown
half an hour
St.
ago.
Paul.
Yep, downtown St. Paul, right on Wabasha. They've been there since 1938.
Joe, will you take me to this Candyland?
I think we will. We'll take a stop there sometime. It's awesome.
Do they have sour belts? I fucking love
They
sour
have almost everything there, including the aforementioned Lego candy, so you can eat them and choke your kid out with them, too.
belts.
For actual Valentine's Day, which we did on President's Day, or did we do that on the 8th? Nope, we did it on the 15th.
The 14th!
We went to a place called Como Dockside in St. Paul.
Come to the dark side.
Not close
Como
enough.
Dark Side?
Because for the longest time, the Como Pavilion, right on 1360 Lexington Parkway North in St. Paul, was a wreck. I mean, the place just looked like it was falling apart. It opened up so people could rent paddle boats,
Podcast is never going to
ice
end.
skating, things like that. No, it did end it. Actually, Cory turned it off an hour ago. We've just been going on and on. Como Dockside is a chic waterfront eatery, and it's got New American Eats with a Southern touch.
Will you take me there? I heard Southern.
It's very expensive. You're on your own.
Will
on
you
this one.
take me? Oh,
But it was fun. Chris and I had a Groupon that I got her for Christmas. We split a bottle of wine, and yes, Chris did drive home.
Why does your wife have a boy name?
Because I have a girl name. As far as TV
My
goes,
name is Joe.
we are watching the next episode of X-Files, and I'm enjoying the heck out of it. We both decided to give Lucifer a try. My wife didn't like it. I was trying to entice her by, Neil Gaiman has a credit because he kind of invented this character, but she didn't have anything to go with it, didn't like it. I enjoyed it enough. I think I will watch at least a few more. I've got like 4 of them recorded, so I'll give it a try. Comics read. Cory, have you ever read like half a comic miniseries and then never read the other half?
No, I unless it sucks.
Cory reads everything.
I
don't read everything, but I read a hell of a lot.
I guess I should say I'm rereading it. I pulled out my absolute Avengers versus JLA, read the few issues, didn't read the last half.
What?
Well, it's a big-ass book. It's hard to figure out how to balance it without damaging it.
What?
I'll get
What
around
are we
to
talking
it.
about?
Joe, what little respect I have for you is now gone. You must now earn it back.
I'm going to read the other half. I just haven't gotten to it. Apparently, I had to finish a really bad Star Trek book. Return it before I incur my first library fine in 20 years. There's a new comic shop opening up nearby. Well, not really opening up. It's moving from Minneapolis to just down the street from me. High Class Comics is moving to the east side of St. Paul.
Okay, I will be there.
Yeah, their old grand opening's the 29th,
Maybe.
and I'm going to go check it out.
Yep.
I did visit them once, and when they were at the different comic cons, like the comic card one that we talked about last podcast,
Right.
we stopped by. He's a nice guy, so I can't wait to see. He says he's got triple the space, so I'll see how he lays out his stuff. And the last thing I'm geeking on was, like I said, as we are podcasting here, my daughter is a DJ on Radio K. I didn't get to listen to it because, usually I can listen to things in the background and they don't interrupt with the podcast. But for some reason, Radio K wanted to be all over this podcast, so... Oh, how could I forget? I found a new bookstore nearby. A place called A Greener Read. Has used books, DVDs, CDs, vinyls, and video games. And it's an interesting bookstore because what they do is they recycle. It's a for-profit company, and they collect used books, CDs, records, video games, and local artist works that people no longer want through recycle bins that are placed outside local businesses. People drop the unwanted books and media into their stuff. When they get them, they either sell them, recycle them, donate them to like Books for Africa or things like that. And we stopped by their new shop, which is right down on Payne Avenue there. It's actually 506 East Kenny Road in St. Paul, but if you drive along Payne Avenue, you can find it. We're just driving home, and we ran across, they had one of those folding signs outside, used book CDs, and I was like, oh, we got to check this out. And it was a nice little shop. I mean, he knows where everything is. He has everything kind of set up by genre. One of those places you probably want to stop in once a month like you would half-price books, because you never know what's going to show up or what they've got going. So, plus I got a neat coupon, bring this in for one free book, or 25% off my entire purchase. And they had a bunch of DVDs I'm thinking about. I may try to pick them up. Jen, what are you geeking on? What's got you going besides booze and magic fairies doing your dishes?
I've been watching the new X-Files, and it's really fucking good.
Do you think a new X-Files would work with that couple that got introduced on yesterday's episode?
I don't know. I only watched the first 2 episodes so far.
Oh.
But, yeah, well, you know, like, I was watching it, like, you know, I was just thinking, like, it's fucking amazing. Like, I have this little tablet, and it's an older tablet, you know, because I bought it from a friend that upgraded. But it has a really good screen, and I can watch TV on it. And I downloaded, like, the Fox News... No, wait, not Fox News. Fox Now app or something, so I can watch X-Files episodes. Dude, you can fucking watch TV while you're in bed. Like, what a fucking world we live in, where you could watch fucking TV in your fucking bed. I mean, like, not like a TV, like, across the room, or on the dresser, or on a piece of furniture.
Wait, are we talking about TV or fucking?
Like, pull the blanket over your fucking head and watch TV on the fucking tablet over the Wi-Fi. Like, fucking, we live in the future, man. We live in the fucking future. The new X-Files is really fucking good, but I only watched 2 episodes, so if it sucks after, like, episode 3, do not send me angry emails about it. I will just delete it. I do not give a shit.
Send her green beans.
Okay? And I've been working
the best one.
on my YouTube channel. Did you see my fucking video?
Yes.
No, I haven't been to bed yet.
What?
You said I could watch it in bed.
I fucking, like, made this video of me, and I was like, I'm gonna do, like, the shit that everybody does when nobody else is around, but I'm gonna video it and show it to the whole internet. So that's what I did. I danced on the camera, and I uploaded it to YouTube. The end.
Well, what's the name of the channel?
Me. That's the theme of the channel. I am so fucking drunk right now, so.
I couldn't tell.
Just. Cory, what are you geeking on so I can go away now?
I am all caught up on the new Ant-Man series. You guys know how much I love the Superior Foes of Spider-Man. Ant-Man is just as good. It's funny. It's smart. It ties in with continuity in a way that's, it doesn't limit it. It's more where you read it and you go, oh, that's a cool idea. Oh, that's a cool idea. Oh, that's a cool idea. And it's accessible. I really like the art. It's in that Chris Samney, Ron Wilson sort of style. Just loving that book. The solicitations are out and coming in May. Scarlet, which is by Brian Michael Bendis and Alex Maleev, is back. I guess they do have to finish the second story by the end of the year, or there are contractual problems, so they are hurrying it up. There will be 2 issues in May. Scarlet is a story about... Scarlet actually started before Occupy Wall Street, and kind of it inhabits that same space of a character who fights against the economic system and begins a movement. And because it's Bendis, it's very personal. It's the story of this person as this movement grows. And Alex Maleev's art, he's the person who drew Alias. Joe, you've read Alias, right?
Yes.
Alex Maleev's art is amazing. It's just amazing. It feels like old photographs when I read it. I absolutely love his art. And one of the problems I've had with Bendis's creator-owned stuff is that he couldn't give a shit about schedules, it seems. There was the comic Brilliant. He started with Mark Bagley. I think we got 2 issues, and that was 4 years ago. It's been 3 issues since an issue of Scarlet. We heard that Powers is back, and it's going to be coming out on a regular schedule. Yeah, there hasn't been a new issue in months. The United States of Murder. Brilliant idea. Set in an alternate universe where the mob has taken over the government. Again, here's 6 issues, and it's continued, and who knows if it'll ever come out. But the fact that he has said he does have to finish this for contractual reasons means we're going to get a conclusion, at least to Scarlet. I'm really looking forward to that.
Guys. The gremlin in my kitchen has, pulled all the knobs off of the oven and is washing the knobs on the oven.
I wash my knob quite often.
Please clap.
Oh, no, too much information.
Archie has announced, speaking of books that should be coming out and haven't been, Archie has announced the return of Afterlife with Archie and the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina? Is that what it's called? Yeah, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. They are coming back in late May, early June. Hopefully they will come out on a regular basis. These are the books that really kind of turn things around for Archie. Looking forward to them. And the last thing is another solicitation. Joe, you like the Doctor Strange, right?
Yeah.
Is that like
you like the Doctor Strange by Steve Ditko, right?
Yeah.
How would you like all of the Doctor Strange by Steve Ditko stories in an omnibus?
Omnibus.
Well, it depends.
How would you...
Will they ship it on time?
Oh, it'll be on time, but it's not for months and months and months. Oh, yeah. But here's the other thing. It's only $75. Most omnibuses are about $125.
Omnibuses?
And that's the same price as a Marvel Masterwork. So you're getting much more than a Marvel Masterwork for the same price. And if you look around online, you can probably get it for about $30, $35. And I've got these stories. I've got them in the Masterworks. I've got them in the Essentials. I've got them in various reprints. I don't know if I'm buying this or not, but I sure want it.
Oh, I'm on it.
They've also announced the 2nd volume of the Master of Kung Fu Omnibus series, which is the last of the Paul Galassi stuff and the beginning of the Mike Zeck stuff.
Oh,
still haven't got the 1st volume.
I hope they don't do that in Dr.
Guys, I danced on the internet.
Green beaned?
No.
Well, believe it or not, kids.
Oh, wow, it worked.
I'm done with my geeking. It's what we do.
Uh-huh.
Well, there's kind of a format.
Uh-huh.
As much as you guys to try to pull me off course and do your homework and try to distract me, I'm the producer of the damn thing.
Yeah, whatever.
And I use the format.
Whatever.
You've listened to us blather on about funny books and villains shooting out green beans from their ass for an hour and a half. And as we say every week...
I am tossed salad!
I hate comics. Except Batgirl is pretty awesome.
The comics we like the least, we still like better than the comic that you like the most, Joe.
It is now very common to hear people say, I'm rather offended by that. As if that gives them certain rights. It's actually nothing more than a whine. I find that offensive. It has no meaning. It has no purpose. It has no reason to be respected as a phrase. I am offended by that. Well, so fucking what? Stephen Fry. Jin?
Hit my music, boys.
And there we go.
I think you should say, if you count the number of times we say the word fuck in this episode, you shall win a free copy of the Web of Spider-Man 100.
I can't stay in my chair. I keep falling on the floor.
Oh,
was I okay?
It was good.
Okay.
You guys have fun.
Okay. I'm going to hang up now.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.